Alright guys, welcome back to another video of Marvel Contest of Champions. So in this video I'm going to talk about Masteries. Now Masteries are something that will definitely give you an edge in your fights. They will increase your attack, increase your critical damage, increase your defense, and give you new abilities like the ability to parry, and which is being able to stun an opponent as they try to strike you. And then the ability to evade attacks, and that is really cool. So I'm going to show you my masteries. Don't really pay attention to them. Just pay attention to the ones that I talk about. My mastery setup is incredibly advanced, so don't worry if you have nothing like this. But the first part I want to show you is some of the masteries are free. And typically if masteries are free, that's because they're not very good. So let's take a look here. Alright, so in the beginning, the majority of the good masteries are going to require these Stony Mastery cores. There are 135 units per core, and you're going to go through a lot of them. And what I suggest to everyone is you don't need to spend on the game. You can run your monthly event, you can run the story event, you can run arenas. And with arenas, you get units in each milestone you get to, and you also earn those battle chips that you can turn into arena crystals and possibly get units from. So let's take a look at the masteries, and this is just my suggestion. There are many different setups that you can do. For this instance, I have gone, back and forth so many times on how to set this up, but this is what I suggest. And we are just going to look at these right here for offense. For defense, we are just going to look at these. And for proficiencies, we are just going to look at these and maybe this one. Alright, so for offense, I just have 1 point in most of these initial categories. I do that so I can get to the next group, because I eventually want to get to precision and cruelty. So I do 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 and 1. A big mistake a lot of people do is they'll put 5 and 5 in there because it's cheap. And you can do that as long as you're building up to the cruelty and precision mastery, because it takes a lot to unlock them. I believe it's a core level. And so, as you can see, this maxed out increases the critical rating of all champions by 425 points. And cruelty increases the critical damage rating of all champions by 475. So if you're using champions that are based on critical hits, like Black Widow or Elektra, many other champions that really rely on that, you're definitely going to want to max those out. For defense, so these are vitality, increase the health of all champions by 24 points. Doesn't do much when it's maxed, and you're wasting points if it's maxed. Increase the health of all champions by 1.6% of their base health. This one, a lot of people will have 3 in. Your champions passively recover 1 health twice per second for 60 seconds. This helps more in the beginning than it does later in the game, because at the most it gives you 6 health per second, and it doesn't really do much when your health is 15,000. However, recovery is a really good mastery if you rely on regeneration champs like Wolverine, X-23. Those kinds of champs are going to definitely get a big boost in their regeneration. So if you are using champs that are based on regeneration, definitely max out your recovery. I would say at some point in the game, you definitely leave that maxed. Down here, block proficiency. Increase the block proficiency of your champions by 800 points. I do this because I want to be able to block as much damage as possible. And perfect block. Your champions gain 4% perfect block chance. Perfect blocks reduce incoming attack damage to 0. So when you get a perfect block, you take no damage for it. And in the game, the way it's set up, certain champs have block penetration, like Massacre. Massacre is a nightmare if your fighting style is using blocks. He can penetrate so much of your block and cause massive damage. And then I have Stand Your Ground. While blocking, you can resist a block break. This one I don't really use all that much because I usually am not in a situation where I'm going to get hit with a block break. Plus, on my Darkhawk, it's actually pretty good if somebody knocks him on his keister, because then he gets into his shield form. And that's basically what I do for defense. Proficiencies. These are the fun ones I like a lot. So the very first one, parry. I cannot tell you enough. If you're going to buy your first mastery, this is the one. I hate the gameplay the way it is without parry. So basically parry is, if you time your block right, the moment that your opponent tries to hit you and you block them, if you have the timing perfectly, you will stun them, which is really nice. And so you can start the battle with a parry, stun them, 5-hit combo. They try to hit you, stun them again with a parry, and just keep going through that. You'll see most of the players on the game do have that play style. So it says a well-timed block right when attacked reduces damage by an additional 25%. If contact is made by basic attacks, inflict a stun debuff for 2 seconds. Stun duration increases with perfect block chance. Limber. Rigorous mental and physical health training reduces the duration of enemy stun debuffs. So Limber will reduce the amount of time that you are stunned for. It's definitely handy. I don't have it maxed out because I don't need it maxed. I don't think it's worth a point. Dexterity. This one is incredibly important. So without dexterity, all you can do is block hits and take the damage. With dexterity, you can actually swipe back and evade Cyclops Beam or evade Iron Man's repulsors or any kind of kicks, hits, things thrown at you. You can evade it all if you time your swipe back correctly and on time. So it says, when dodging backward, your champions are not struck by attacks. Successfully avoiding an attack in this way grants a 250 critical rating buff that lingers for 0.2 seconds after your next hit. Stupefy. When your champions inflict stun debuffs, they last for 0.5 additional seconds. So this works with the parry mastery. This will allow you to extend your stun duration even longer. Petrify. When your champions inflict stun debuffs, they also reduce regeneration rate by up to 20% and power gained from attacking or being attacked by up to 20% for the duration of the stun. And Pacify. When your champions inflict stun debuffs, they also reduce enemy ability accuracy by 30% for the duration of the stun. Ability accuracy governs the chance that an ability activates. So this is a really good one for fighting magic. This is what I used to use when I fought her all the time, because her limbo effect causes so much damage. But you can stun her and you have a chance that she will not jump into limbo because of this mastery. And then, of course, I have Mystic Dispersion. Even though this was nerfed a bit, I still think it's a really effective mastery to have. Mystic champions gain 5% power each time a buff is nullified or its duration expires off their opponent. So if you are a Mystic champion and your opponent's buff expires or is nullified, then you gain energy off of it. So a really nice mastery to have. Hopefully this helps explain masteries a bit. I can definitely do an advanced mastery setup build to explain why I have Resonate and why I highly recommend Resonate. It's amazing. But other than that, you guys take care, have fun, and I will talk to you later.